Have you ever had a conversation with God that goes something like this? God, would you please take this weakness from me? I don't know about you, but I have. And I took this conversation with me all the way down to Nicaragua. I hadn't planned some big pre-planned church mission trip. It was just me going down to reconnect with a missionary friend that I hadn't seen in years. I took 5 days out of my schedule. I'd end up meeting some new missionary friends down there that instantly became like family to me. And we're sitting around the fire after dinner, shooting the breeze, and they're gonna play some cards. All the guys were gonna get together, and I was like, hey, I'm tapping out. I'm gonna go back to my hut. And so I went back to my hut that was on the end of the compound out by myself, and I began just praying before I went to bed, and I opened my Bible because I pray and then God responds back by me reading the scriptures. And I just pray these simple out loud prayers. And I was in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, where the Apostle Paul is asking God 3 times to take this thorn, this weakness from him. And God doesn't answer the prayer like the way he wants him to. He simply says, I'm going to give you grace. He didn't take it away, but I'm going to give you grace for that. And he shows him that that Christ's strength is going to rest on his weakness. And I was very moved by that prayer time, and I went to bed and got up the next day, and come to find out they had organized this prayer time where they're all going to take times out of their busy schedules and orphanages and schools, and all of them running different types of programs all over the city, to take a couple hours out, leave their place of work and their mission to come pray for me at a place they called Ruby's house. And so I'm in this upper room of Ruby's house, and they're praying over me and reading scripture, and I'm being encouraged. There's about 5 or 6 of us in there. But they had brought 2 young men that had been rescued off the streets and were being trained up to be pastors. And one was 18 and one was 21. And one of the young men just simply came up into the group that was praying over me, and he said, hey, could I pray for you, sir? And he opens his Bible and he puts his hand on my chest, and he just starts reading the scriptures. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, the very place that I've been reading the night before, hadn't told anybody. And at that moment, I start coming unglued. I mean, tears just start coming down my face. I can't contain it. And then he just turns to me and he said, sir, I just want to pray for you. But he says, is it possible you keep asking God to remove a weakness, and God is just wanting permission for his grace to be in your life so his strength can show up? And I just begin bawling my eyes out. And I came away from that moment not praying prayers anymore, to these prayers to the Lord of like, Lord, why this punishment? Why this weakness? But I begin to say that maybe that sometimes there's things in our life that are not necessarily punishment, but they're placement. And in that place of placement, God's grace is there, and it's sufficient. And it's in these weak moments, these weak places, where God's strength shows up in our lives.